All right, grace and peace, everyone, and welcome back to the Be Holy podcast. As you already know, I'm your host, Oski, and this is the podcast where I introduce you, yes, you, to Christian hip hop, uncovering the stories, the purpose, and the ministry behind the music. Now, before we go any further, if you have been enjoying the Be Holy podcast and you love the stories that are being told from the many different artists, producers, engineers, and other industry figures in Christian hip hop, make sure to like, comment, and subscribe. Show the Be Holy podcast some love. Also, make sure to get our digital gift, the 5 steps on how to become a Christian rapper. And we also have a Patreon called Holy Grounds, where we have early access to podcast episodes, behind the scenes content, and we also have members only discussions on every podcast episode. So today's episode, we have a very special guest, and it's someone who has had their fingerprints all over Christian hip hop for the last 2 decades. He has been in the industry and has worked with so many different artists such as Bizzle, Dayton, Jared Sanders, and members in Cross Movement. And he's now taking the time to have this conversation with me. He's also been an advocate for many producers because of his experience in the game, and he also serves as an in-house producer for Holy Culture Radio. If you ever wonder what it takes to have a lasting career that doesn't just last years but last decades, this is the episode that you don't want to miss. So without further ado, we are going to welcome Mr. Marvin Glaspie Jr. to the Be Holy podcast. How you doing, Marv?
I'm good, man. He said my whole
Good.
government name.
Hey, it's only right that we do it, man. You know what
Yeah,
I'm
no,
saying?
it's all good, man. Thank
Yeah,
you for
you told
having me,
me.
bro.
Absolutely. You told me you were open book, man, so I had to
Yep.
throw it out there.
Yeah. I still did, but we good, man. Thank you for having me
Hey,
on the show, bro.
absolutely, man. I'm honored for you to be on. So, Marv, man, I ask each and every guest, man, when they join my pod,
Mhm.
what is your born again date?
My born again date is June 5th, 1999, bro. So
Man,
it's been about 25 years, man. It's been a long time.
that's
Half of my life. I'm 49, so that's been half of my
yeah.
life. You dig? Uh,
That's a quarter of a century, brother. You know
Come
what I'm
on.
saying? And we definitely bless the Lord for that. And I ask each and every person that joins the pod that question because we typically celebrate our birthday, right? But we have
Mhm.
to understand we was born in sin and shaped in iniquity. And
Right.
the very day that we surrendered our lives to Christ, that's when we was born again. Because Ephesians 2:1 says that we was dead in our
Right.
trespasses, but we have been made alive. And
Right.
John 3:3 says, Jesus told to Nicodemus that truly, truly I say to you, unless one is born
Again.
again, he will not see the kingdom of God. So we
Correct.
celebrate what Jesus did on the cross for us, down on the cross, and raising up in 3 days, conquering sin and death. And we now have the opportunity to live a life and to have it more abundantly, man. So I just thank
Amen.
you for sharing that with us, man. And
Yeah.
as I tell all my guests, I'm gonna make sure I have a born again gift for you. You know what I'm saying? Just to show you some love. All right.
No doubt. No doubt, man. Appreciate it, bro. Appreciate it. Yes.
Yeah, man. So we're gonna go ahead and get started because I know
Mhm.
that's what the listeners and the audience is waiting for. But can you tell me a little bit about your background, man? Like where you from and how you got into producing?
So man, I'm originally from New Orleans. New Orleans,
And
Louisiana.
no,
Yep. Originally from New Orleans, man. I've been in well, originally from New Orleans. I'm in Texas now. We've been in Texas since Hurricane Katrina, and that's been now 20 years. Uh, but I started back. I was a DJ back in New Orleans. Well, let me back up. I'm a drummer, right? So
okay,
you know, to kind of just graduate into certain things. I went from drumming, being a drummer, to DJ, to production, and then they all go hand in hand because you're dealing with rhythm and transition and programming and stuff. Uh, but I started out as a drummer, uh, and then I got into DJing. I stopped. I DJed. I was a disc jockey from probably right around 1990, 95, 96 up to 99. So I had about a
Okay.
good, I had a good run, I had a good 4 or 5 years run. And then 1999, I got saved. Uh,
Amen.
and I gave, just, got, gave up the turntables and stuff. But I didn't start producing till 2002, 3 years later.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
And it wasn't nothing that, it wasn't nothing, it was unexpected. It wasn't like, I had a dream to be a producer. It was, I really became a producer out of necessity. Uh,
Okay.
the church that I got saved in, they had they had these two brothers, right? And they used to be rapping in church, man. They used to be rapping off of tape cassettes. And back in the days, still had tape cassettes, and the
Yeah.
tape popped. One day the
Yeah.
tape popped in the middle of the service. And I'm freshly born again. You know what I'm saying? And I'm like, dang man, these dudes need some beats, right? So
Mm.
I always figured that I would do like, I'll figure out to do like recording engineering, just the sound and stuff, just for the simple fact of me being a DJ, sound would be my thing. Uh, they had a dude in our church that had like the Triton keyboard, you know what I'm
Mm-hmm.
saying? And I used to be trying to get him like, man, why don't you work with them, bro? I said, man, you can make the beats and then I can figure out how to record it. And the dude, the cat, man, he just was he just wasn't moving fast enough, at least to me. You know what I'm
Right.
saying? So I just, I kind of just, I just started getting on this little hunt, man, for drum machines. I didn't know what I was looking for in particularly, but I also I had a wife and kid. To have wife and kids at the time, so money was a major issue. So I know I couldn't go out and buy like no $1,000, $1,500 MPC. So I settled for this little drum machine, like a little Yamaha rhythm programmer that I still got to this day. Uh,
Mm-hmm.
I seen it at a pawn shop, man, and I eyed it for maybe about 2, 3 months till it got down to where I can afford it. And then, man, I snatched it, bro. And from that point
Mm.
on, it just took off, man. So right now, so if I started around 2001, 2002, we talking about 23 years. You know what I'm saying?
Wow.
As a producer.
Wow. Hey
Hmm.
man, that's amazing because listening to what you just said, like the moment that you was born again and then you entered into the church, like God already put this zeal in you to want to serve and to help, right?
Yeah.
And because of you already having that inclined ear for music, you saw that
Hmm.
there was an opportunity where you can fix something,
Right.
right? And that then led into you having a 23-year career.
Yeah.
Now, 23 years is a long time in any occupation, right?
Yeah.
We looking at LeBron James, he's going into his 24th year, and we
Yeah.
celebrate him for that, right?
Right.
And
Right.
some
Right. Right.
people, they don't really last long when it comes to
Right.
this industry or even other occupations, man.
Yeah.
So I want to ask you this, like, you having been in this industry for 23 years, what has allowed you to stay relevant for so long? And why is the reason that other people disappear so quickly?
Man, so to answer the first question, why do I figure, I've been able to stay relevant? Um, man, so I started producing again 2002, but I didn't and at that time from 2001 2002 all the way up to maybe about 2006, I was just producing for some artists at my church. I didn't, it wasn't like a full-time gig. I was just a producer for our church rap ministry, you know not realizing that just even that groundwork and what I was doing there would even would even it's almost full circle, because when I started out producing, when I started, man, I was producing and engineering. I was doing all the
Mm,
recording, everything, and then, man, 20 some odd years later, what I'm saying, I am back. All right, I'm back right around the corner. You know what I'm saying? Working for Holy Culture as an in-house producer. Uh,
mm,
but to I for me, what I think what has allowed me to be relevant. I'm sorry, man. I'm trying to let me put my phone on mute. What has allowed me to be relevant, uh, once this became like once it became a job for me, because
Mm,
2007 is when it became 2006, 2007. That's when it became real, and that's when I actually started producing for artists outside of the group at my church, right?
mm,
And during that time, it was a matter of during that time, right around 2007, 2008, I met my homeboy Joshua.
mm.
He goes by young. Well, he started out as Young Josh, but he goes by Joshua Penn, right? Joshua
Okay.
Penn. A lot. And hold on. Well, you know what? Let me back up. I had a friend of mine, my partner Cole Hicks. He's from New Orleans, but I met Josh through Corey, because Corey was like a New Orleans Christian hip hop artist, but Cole was going all over, you know, the states, you know what I'm saying, United States, rapping in different states and stuff. So he met a lot of artists along the way, and he he kind of he linked up with a lot of artists that was up east around Philly and New York and Maryland and stuff. So through my guy Corey, I met a buddy of mine named Josh, aka Young Joshua, aka Joshua Penn. Between Josh and then from Josh, I met Sharif. I met
Shout out to
Reef.
Sharif.
Shout out to Reef, man. That's my big bro. Shout out to Sharif Johnson, man.
Yes,
And
sir.
when I met Sharif, we was just homies and stuff. So if I'm 49, if Reef got to be 50, almost 51. So he big
Mm,
brother. You know what I'm saying? So, I'm little bro, you know what I'm saying? And we was homies and stuff. And eventually Reef took me on. Reef was already doing artist management. So, but he took me on as a he took me as a client too. So he became my manager as a producer. And
yeah.
I'm gonna answer the question. Um, when I first started working with Reef, uh, and just and keep in mind I'm from the South, so everything that I was producing was like down south, 808
Yeah.
drums, horn,
Yeah.
you know, organs, so
You had a unique sound.
so when we got with Reef, man, Reef was like, listen, bro, I don't want you to listen. I want you to practice other styles. I don't want to hear no 808s. I don't want to hear no horns. I don't want to hear none of that. You dig?
Mm-hmm.
So, uh, that was like the last, So and I would be sending Reef tracks, and Reef was brutal too, man. Reef would be like, that's trash. Go back. You know what I'm saying? That's trash. Go back. Nah, that ain't it, son. Go back. I mean, and some I get to the point, man, I need someone to send Reef nothing, man, because he was just turning everything. He was just kept just back to back, just turning it down. But I knew that I wanted to be good. I didn't know that what the longevity was going to be. I just knew that I wanted to be a great producer, so I stayed with it, man. So I would keep sending them tracks, and you know, and then he would start. They would start to get better. So because he had me working on East Coast tracks and stuff. So he'd be like, "All right, okay, you getting there?" Blah blah blah. He would be giving me pointers, along the way as he was critiquing me. Uh, to the
Mm,
point man, where now he was able to you know, shop my records to, cross movement and stuff like that, because I had just, you know, built up a different memory muscle musically. So
mm,
to your point of just staying relevant, a lot of that is to Sharif, man, because Sharif challenged me as a producer, to
mm,
do different styles, to be diverse, you know. I, you know, I'm, you have some producers that have signature sounds. when you hear a certain track, you know that's a certain producer, right? And
Mm-hmm.
sometimes uh especially like my homeboys, they know when, oh yeah, that's a Mars joint, you know what I'm saying? But I also like the idea where you be like, when they hit a record, you be like, dang man, I didn't know you did that, you know what I'm saying?
Mm-hmm.
So that's what keeps me relevant, man, because and even though I've been doing it for a long time, I still practice, you know what I'm saying? I've probably did my 10,000 hours. I probably did about 30,000 hours. You know what I'm saying?
Mm-hmm.
Because I'm not a fluent piano player, so I practice where I'm short. And my where my weaknesses are and stuff, man. So, and I try to keep my ear plugged into the ground, man. I got a son. I got a son that's I got a 19-year-old son that's a Christian hip hop artist and producer. So, I'm always listening to what he's doing. He keep me
Mm-hmm.
young, you know what I'm saying? And, just trying to, I'm always trying to for, forever learn. And so that's why I've been blessed to be around, you know what I'm saying? And being able to be called upon to do multiple things, some
Yeah.
producers are called on to do one. I mean, just I know some producers that people just call on. Oh man, well I need you on. I need such and such on this joint because I know he gonna give me that sound. But then I have individuals that I work with. They be like, man, listen, I know Marv. He can do it all. You dig? So
Mm.
uh, that's again, man, just being that practicing being diverse and just again, man, I'll be forever grateful to Sharif because he really challenged me to be the producer that I am today. Uh, Another thing too, man, I think would have allowed me to be in the space uh, for quite a while is, man, I try to treat people fair, bro. You know what I'm
Mm-hmm.
saying? You know, um, I've been blessed to work with a lot of mainstream Christian hip hop artists, but I treat everybody fair. I treat everybody the same. I don't
Mm-hmm.
I ain't gonna treat I treat the indie artists just like I'm gonna treat Bizzle. I'm gonna treat Bizzle just like I treat the indie artists. And if I'm working with Derek Minor, and Derek is just Derek, you know what I'm saying? And
Right. Right.
industry MC Jane John Doe, he's John Doe. Like, everybody I try to, I try to be no respect the person, try to, treat people, handle people with integrity. If try to keep good relationships. You know what I'm saying? I don't proclaim to be the best producer, but I've been around a long time because I have I got a good word with people. People like, man, I can trust Marv, blah blah blah. He gonna do right by me. So I've been blessed to stay busy that way.
Yeah. That's good. That's
Yeah,
good.
man. And I have a lot of colleagues, man, that have that have dipped, or have said, hey, I'm gonna work on the industry side, and I mean on the secular side of things, because it's they probably had a bad taste in the probably had some bad relationships in the Christian space. I will say this, man. We are Christians, but the music industry. You know what I'm saying? And some people can take it, and some people be like, you know what, I'm out. You dig?
Right.
Uh,
Right.
I mean, out of a lot of people that I've kind of came up with, man, I could probably name, you know, I can count on my hand who's still my colleagues that are still in the space.
Right. Right.
Yeah, yeah. So it's a
So Ma, man, that was dope. You sharing that, talking about how like Sharif really challenged you to become a better producer, actually challenged you to be a more diverse producer. Because I think that's the one thing in as being an artist is you constantly have to evolve, right? You don't
yeah,
want to be stagnated because you're holding on to what you've learned coming up, right?
right,
And in this game, it's either you're going to grow as an artist, as a
yeah,
producer, or as an engineer, or you're going to be left behind. And I think that's one of the reasons why people don't have lasting careers because they don't do the things to elevate or to necessarily perfect their craft.
Right.
So, with that being said, like, what does it actually mean to be a versatile producer or engineer, and why is versatility important today, in today's music?
Uh, man, if you try to make some money at it, you better learn how to be versatile. you know, hey man,
Yeah.
let me tell you something, man. Let me tell you something, bro. I got 7 kids, right? I got 7 kids, and
Woo,
my oldest is
okay.
20. My oldest is 29, and my baby is 19. Like and I had 6 boys, 6 boys and a
Mm-hmm.
daughter. So listen, man, I had to
Wow,
be
that's
that. I had to be diverse, man, because them dudes was hungry. You know what I'm saying?
yeah.
We had school tuition. I had to try to keep roof over their head. So I think, and I want to be balanced. I don't want to say, it's all about the money, but
Mm-hmm.
you know, it's it's almost like being on the job. It's almost like being on the job, man. Like, certain jobs say, well, listen, if you have this degree, or if you have this, or if you can be bilingual, you can get a
Mm-hmm.
raise, right? It sounded good, audio good.
Mm-hmm. You're good.
Okay. You know what I'm saying? It's almost like, if you have these credentials, then you can move up to the next level, right? So, but
Yeah.
if you're a producer that only does one thing, like if you just a trap producer, you know what I'm saying? Like that's where you top out at. You know what I'm saying? So
Mm.
and again, man, that's why versatility uh you know is beneficial, because people calling on me for all different stuff, man. Actually, I had an artist yesterday and was like, "Hey, listen, Marv, I need a K-pop joint. Okay, just let me know when to start." But
Mhm.
I've practiced those different type of records. You know what I'm saying? Or if I'm working with a singer, well, man, Marv, I want to, if I'm working with a young lady that's a singer and she was like, I want a worship type feel, I want kind of like a R&B track type of track. I've practiced those type of records and did enough of those records to where I'm like, hey, cool, I can do that. You know what I'm saying? Versus me saying, oh, well, sis, man, that's really not my style, but I know
And you
somebody
lose out
else.
on
You know what I'm
money.
saying? Look, my boy Vest. Shout out to Vest. I know you had him on the show
Yeah,
last
yeah.
week. You
Shout
know
out
what
to
I'm saying?
Best.
And that's in some cases where I might be like, man, you know what, my guy can do it. But that I don't do that often, because I'm able to. I've been blessed to be able to do certain, to be versatile in that type of
Yeah.
way, man. Like, for instance, man, like, even all the work that we've been doing over at the label, man, just from the top of the year to now, I've probably made over well, I'm just all let me just say all of the records for the label. This is not beats outside of the label. But
Mhm.
from the top of the year to now, I've produced and recorded over 80 some odd tracks for Holy Culture.
Ooh.
We got
Over the last year.
over no oh from the top of the year to now.
Top of the year. Oh wow.
Yes,
Oh
because
wow.
at the top of the year we did a worship, we did a this is worship compilation, right? Then the
Mhm.
second, then the next month we did a Chris we did another compilation, and then in
Mhm.
March I did a compilation with one of the DJs. Actually, the first single came out yesterday. DJ Delight, the Illumination project that'll be coming out soon. His first single dropped yesterday. We
Mhm.
I produced and recorded a project for him. Then in March, in the same month of March, came to Philly and recorded another project for Pastor Charles AR. His records are coming out right now. And then in April came back, recorded another project with another artist on the label, King Size, right? That was in April.
Mhm.
No, 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 no. Actually, hold on, let me back up. We did the Christmas comp in April. So hold on. We did January, This Is Worship. I came back in February. who project that was. It was somebody else's project in February. Then I came back and did two projects in March. Came back and did a project in April. Did a project in May. I had a month off in June.
Mm-hmm.
I had the month off in June. Came back in
Mm-hmm.
July. Recorded another project just a couple of weeks ago, and I'm headed back out of town next week to record another
Mm-hmm.
project. And each and every record sounds totally different. Some of the records you can be like, man, Marv, you did this, you know. So all of the practice, the hours, and being a student of I like to. I'm a student of my craft. I study my favorite producers. You know what I'm saying? I study certain things. So the diversity is just like it's like second nature to me. You know what I'm saying? Just easily come out. It's almost like much is given, much is required. The more you intake, the more you can give out. You dig? So uh
Yeah, yeah.
and check this out. Some producers are okay with being just a trap producer. Some producers are okay with just being a signature producer. I
Mm-hmm.
didn't I didn't have that I didn't have that I didn't have that benefit when my kids were babies. You know what I'm saying?
Right, right.
I had to get it all, you know what I'm saying? So, and I just
Yeah,
think, man, again, just tying it to the question before, that's what just keeps you around, man, because people are like, oh man, Marv, he can do that. I can read Marv, oh yeah, he can do that. So,
yeah.
yeah.
Nah, that's good because man, like you don't miss out on opportunities. And I love what you said because typically a producer who is only a trap producer, like he
Hmm.
would basically recommend somebody else if he
Yeah.
doesn't necessarily fit the criteria for whatever that artist may be asking for. But
Right.
you
Right.
said, I'm gonna put myself in position for whoever comes to that door and needs a beat, I'm gonna
Yeah,
be able
man.
to produce it for you.
Yeah.
So now that's good, man. That's real good. So have you found a lot of artists and or even yourself like
Hmm.
chasing trends? And what can be the benefit or the downfall of being a producer that wants to chase trends?
So, you know, I look at chasing trends as almost like the chasing the carrot syndrome, right? You know what I'm saying? Now,
Mm,
for those that are familiar with farming, you know what I'm saying, back in the day before they had tractors and stuff, they would have the donkeys or the cows plowing, and
mm,
what the guy would do, he would be on in his buggy, and he would have a stick, and he have a carrot in front
yeah.
of the donkey, and the donkey is thinking he gonna get that carrot, but he'd never get the carrot, but it's gonna
Mm,
just keep dangling in front of him. You know what I'm saying? Before you know it, he'd been plowed the whole field and never get, and eventually get the carrot at the end after him plowed the whole field. But the point
mm,
the point that I'm saying is, man, you know when it comes to chasing them trends, it's almost like that chasing the carrot syndrome. You never get there, right? And I,
mm,
and that, and there have been times, when I was early on as a, younger producer, that used to be the thing, man, I need to be able to do this because I want to get on this album. I want to work with this. I want to work with this label. I want to work with this label. And I just said, man, it can be so tired and exhausting and discouraging if you don't get it. So I just said, you know what? Man, I'm gonna be grateful for what God has me. You know what I'm saying? If I get those opportunities, now if the opportunity come and it presents itself, I'm gonna walk through the door. But if I don't make it, I'm like, well, man, that's another opportunity. Versus, I'm gonna sacrifice everything to do this. You know what I'm saying? And
yeah.
I know some, I know some artists and some producers, man, that have fell for that chasing trends and that chasing the carrot, and it burnt them out. It discouraged them, and now
Mm,
now they on the other side of the music. You know what I'm saying? Uh,
yeah.
so for me, man, I just always was. My thought, my mentality early on was like, you know what? Whatever God gonna have for me, He's gonna have for me. you know,
Yeah.
and I never was chasing trends, and I want to be balanced when I say chasing trends and being relevant, because like at the end of the day, you got to make good music. Like, the music got the bang, you know what I'm saying? But for me, I want to be relevant, make great music, you know, stay in the mix of things, but not to
Mm-hmm.
the point where I got to sell my soul, for the lack of better words, where I got to sacrifice, and I got to, I just got to give my all. You know what I'm saying? My house could be burning down, but I got to give my all to this, because I got to get to a certain destination. Promotion come from the
Yeah.
Lord. Lord said promote. He promotion come from Him. You know what I'm saying? So, if He don't give it to you, you know what I'm saying? I mean, say He can give it to you too, but if you want it with no sorrows,
Yeah.
you know what I'm saying? I mean, that's how I look at it, man. The Lord says blessings come with no sorrows. So
Yeah.
I've learned how to be content and be grateful for the opportunities that I have. I've had some. There are some opportunities that I would have had. That I wish I could have had. But at the end of the day, all is well. It didn't.
Yeah.
It don't get me to the point where I feel disappointed or feel discouraged or feel like I need to shift and do something else because I feel like I ain't made it. Every time
Yeah.
man, hey, look, we got a roof over our head. My family's in good health. I'm alive. My wife's alive. We still love one another. Those
Bless the
those are
Lord.
those are those are wins for me. You dig?
Yeah,
So,
yeah. Hey man, that's awesome, bruh. But I love the dangling carrot analogy because I think a lot of people fall victim in this
oh
industry
yeah,
where they ended up crossing over to the other side because they are trying to get something that God probably isn't necessarily put there for him. So
right.
people are really just trying to do it under their own will outside of God's will.
Yep,
So thank you for sharing that, man, because from what I'm hearing, is like the word says, godliness with contentment is great gain,
it
right?
is.
And the Bible also tells us that your gifts will make room for
Make
you
room
and
for
push
you.
you before great men. So I
Mhm.
see that you more so are just waiting for that door to be open as opposed to barging in and going inside the wrong room. So
Right.
that's definitely encouraging, bro.
And man, and that's that scripture, that Proverbs, was that, I think that's Proverbs 24:16. You quoted that
Mm-hmm.
God will, your gift will make room for you. And he was, yeah. See that scripture there, man, that's one of my favorite joints, you know what I'm saying? And even through, and even through the music, so in and a lot of people know me on social media as uh me making music on my iPad. I'm an iOS producer. You know what I'm saying? Uh,
Oh,
me and a couple other guys uh have really brought that community, made it a thing. You know what I'm saying? When I first started on the iPad, it was just a sketch idea. But me, another guy that I know, Henry the businessman, we, the way we displayed it and made, and showed the possibilities what you can do on the iPad, it's a thing. So, and with all that being said, man, I've been able to work with different online companies just to teach the iPad, right? Uh,
mm-hmm.
I worked for a company called MachineMaster.com. It's a machine, it's a machine website, you know what I'm saying? But they brought me on to teach and show the possibilities of what you can do with an iPad. And from that, I've gained relationships with other producers that are in the secular industry that ain't that, just intrigued by what I've been able to what they see me do on the
Mm,
iPad, man. And for me, excuse me, and for me, I'm like, man, okay, God, man, give me the opportunity to be able to, share the good news with them. You know what I'm saying? Like,
yeah,
I reach out to them for their birthdays and be like, yo, OG, what up, man? Happy birthday, man. God bless you for another year. Just as he my gift is making room, you put me before certain people, man. I that's a win for me. That's a promotion. You know what I'm saying? That I can
yeah,
get to be able to share gospel with this dude that we grew up listening to his music, and hopefully one day, you know what I'm saying, maybe a seed be planted, somebody else water, and God get the increase, and his whole message changed. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah,
That's
yeah,
the kind. That's why I be. That's where my mindset be at. How can I? How through the music? How can I provoke change in a person? You know what I'm saying? And it's not not beating them all over the head, man. And, people
right.
know, and people know who I am, man. People say, "Hey, man, Marv, you're a dope producer," but we know you're a Christian too. You know what I'm
Yeah,
saying? So that's a promotion for me. You know what I'm saying? So
yeah,
if I
yeah.
never get on, if I never get, if I get on the projects, praise the Lord, I'm good with that. But if not, to be able to have those opportunities, that's a win for me. You know what I'm saying?
Right,
You know,
right.
so
Man, that's good because you grab the attention of many different ears,
yeah,
just because of your devotion, not only
yes,
to your craft, but to the Lord, because your
yeah,
reputation is, man, that's Marv. He's a Christian engineer, Christian producer. You know what I'm
mm-hmm,
saying? And
mm-hmm,
that's a dope reputation to have because the first thing in front of that is Christian, right?
right,
And they know that's what you stand for and that's what you
mm-hmm,
stand by. So
mm-hmm.
I definitely salute you, man, for just standing 10 toes when it comes to the Lord, man, and just
Yeah,
people
praise the
just being
Lord.
able
It
to be
it it
gravitated towards you.
it has been over the years it's been very challenging, but I, to be in the space, man, you got it. Your heart got to God is all. One thing I've learned, man, is God is always examining our hearts, and when it comes to this music, man, because the music can just be dark, what I'm saying. When it comes to what we do, in the Christian space, we're the minority of all music, you know what I'm
Right.
saying? So you always have that temptation of, man, I can go, I know my gifts. I can do, I can go work here and work here. Oh, it's just a job. So we start reasoning. Oh man, I just got to take care of my.
Mm,
And you know what? And this is the thing. Oh, I'm not. I don't. I've learned how to not even judge. Some of my colleagues that have veered that way. We have conversations about it. Hey man, that's my conviction not to move that way. But man, if you feel this is what you need to do, hey man, you gonna stand before the Lord. I can't say it's bad or good. I know that's just not for me. You know what I'm saying? But I never want to be driven. I never want to be purpose driven by, trying to take care of my family. And the things get tight. Sometimes, man, I have some dry seasons, man. I mean, sometimes I'm like, man, some months can be good, and some months can be like,
mm.
and Lord, where you at? You know what I'm saying?
Right.
But and some people be like, you know what? I ain't gonna have them, Lord, where you at? I'm going to get mine. You know what I'm saying? And
Yeah.
and at the end of the day, everybody gonna stand before the Lord and have to give account for everything. And guess what? They may hey, God may say, well, I wouldn't please with that, but you good. I don't know. You know what I'm saying? I just know that's a conviction that I have, but I
Yeah.
know that, you know, it's always a testing of the motives, you know what I'm saying, especially in our space, man. Don't get it twisted. It's Christian music, but it's still the industry, bro. It
Yeah.
can be dark. It have been some dark times in Christian music. You dig? So
Yeah.
it is
Yeah.
still the industry.
Yeah. Man, that's good, Marv. You know what I'm saying? And it's kind of like how the Bible talks about the wheats and the tares. You don't necessarily know who you're going to be intermingled with when it comes to the industry, but you pray for your brothers. You pray that the scriptures is the final authority when it comes to
Yep.
any decision that they make. And like
Yep.
you said, man, like we are not the ones who are upholding judgment. That's to the
Right.
Lord, because we
Yeah.
all got to give an account. So I
Exactly.
definitely understand. And you said, look, man, I'm gonna get it, you know what I'm saying? But I'm gonna make
Yeah.
sure that I'm gonna get it the God way no matter what.
Yeah. Yeah.
So I
Yeah, man.
respect it. I
Yeah.
respect. So Marv, I got a question, man. So you have worked with so many different artists as a producer. I
Yep.
mentioned that you work with Bizzle, you work with
Hmm.
Dayton,
Hmm.
Derek Minor, and I'm pretty sure you have so many different artists that even enter the doors of Holy Culture. What is the difference between an artist that has a long lasting career and one who ends up having a career that just fades away quickly? Like, what is the difference between those two? What are some of the things that they're doing in order for them to have that long career? And what are the things they're not doing that causes them to have a career that fades away in the blink of an eye?
You know, it boils down to one word, bro. Consistency.
Mm, mm,
It boils down to consistency, that you know what I'm saying? Like, it's funny that that we even talking about that, because that has just kind of been a common conversation that we've been having over, with the staff over the label and stuff, man. Just consistency. Like, you know, you have you know in the industry, man, you have these things, you have these individuals that have like these one hit wonders, right? What I'm saying? They have a banging record, and then after that, what I'm saying, there's no more. In cases like that, what I'm saying, that's rare. What I'm saying? That's probably 2 out of 10 artists that become one hit wonders, what I'm saying? But and you know what? And it might be a thing where they're being consistent afterwards. They just can't hit it anymore, right?
mm,
But then you have some artists that, okay, you work on a project, you work on a record, you work on a song, put the song out, get the song on DSPs, may get a few, you mess around and get blessed to have some radio spins. But then after 3 weeks to a month, nobody hears about that record anymore, right?
mm,
And then you disappear, you fall off the ends of the earth. But then the next time you come with you come with a song, 2, 3, 4 months later, now you're trying to, hey, I got a new song coming out. You know what I'm saying? And by that time, especially in where we at in the culture, in the
yeah.
social media, man, TikTok, IG, man, when you just scrolling all day, man, you just scroll. You sometimes, man, you don't even, man, I've seen one of my sons, man, he just scroll like. I literally haven't even took the time to look at the doggone video.
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying? But
Yeah.
that's where we at. So that's what I'm talking about when there's a lack of consistency. What I'm saying? You come out with a record, 2, 3 weeks, you're done with the record. Like, you don't hear nothing. There's no more story, no more running the record, this and that. You know what I'm saying? Nothing. Then you disappear. And then now you want to come back 2, 3 months. Let's not even give that long. That's to say you want to come back a month or two later. Not 3, 4 months, a month or two later. Man, you are forgotten about unless you are a household name.
Mm,
You know what I'm saying? So what happened? You weren't consistent. You didn't ride. You had some momentum. You didn't ride on it, and now you're trying to come out with another record. Nobody's feeling you. Nobody's looking for you. Now you're discouraged. Now you can't. You know. Now you can't maintain. So the difference between and listen, I don't want to just say for just artists that indie artists, but that can go for artists on the label too. You know what I'm
right.
saying? And these days, you know what I'm saying? These days, even with how labels are, man, you know what I'm saying? That could be a make or break for you as an individual. You know what I'm saying? Okay, what are you doing? Because we're doing XYZ. What XYZ are you doing? You know what I'm saying? So all that can, it's, I don't want to say because a person is on a label, they may have a greater chance to stay around. No, you can
Right.
be on a label and get shelved. You know what I'm saying? That record
Yeah.
can get
That
shelved. You
happens.
did. You know what I'm saying?
Hmm.
Okay, you ain't putting in the work. You're not doing what you do. Okay, let's sit you on the shelf for a minute. You know what I'm saying?
Hmm.
But then for somebody that's not on the label, if there's no consistency, man, like people gonna forget about you in the next month. You know, uh,
Right. Right.
I always, I tell producers that, producer that's starting out, what I'm saying, that hit me up like, man, how do you think I should get started, man? What should I do? How do I get it going? I'd be like, man, can you send me a link to where your beats are at right now?
Mm-hmm.
If I look on your Instagram, if I look on your social medias, when was the last time you made a beat video? When
Mm,
last time you did a video showcasing what you do and saying, hey, if you want beats, click the link in my bio. Don't expect to sell don't expect to sell no beats if you're not even putting it out there. You know what I'm saying? So
yeah,
at the end of the day, man, if an artist, producer, whoever it is, if you're not consistent, you will lose. You know what I'm saying?
yeah.
Man, I've been doing it for a long time, but I still move like I'm a new person. You know what I'm saying? I
Mm-hmm.
I still move like I just started. You know what I'm saying? Because I got stuff I need to do. You know what I'm saying? I mean, I got so I try to, I never get to the place. Everybody's replaceable.
Mm-hmm.
Everybody can be replaced. And
Mm-hmm.
man, and as we speaking right now, you got 100 producers that are coming up right now. You got producers while we sitting on it, while me and you interviewing right now. You probably got 100,000 to 1 million producers all over the world sitting in their room making beats right now. Whether they in Japan, they're in Africa, they're in Timbuktu. There's so many people in the space. You know what I'm
Mm.
saying? So that's what I mean. And I don't want to. It's you know people that know me, bro. People that know me, they know that I grind. I grind. I grind. Look, me and Vest was in the recording session that we did back in March. Vest was doing some video work, and I'm on the boards. I'm over there working, recording stuff. And Vest came over. He tapped me on the shoulder. He said, "Ma," he said, "Man, do you take breaks?" I said, "Man," I said, "I don't take a break till the work is done." You know what I'm saying?
Yeah,
I don't take away. I'm getting older now, so I need to take more. I need to take more break, man. I'm almost 50 years old. You know what I'm saying?
yeah.
So
You
I
gotta
need to
take
take
that
more.
advice.
Yeah, I gotta take breaks. You know what I'm saying? But when I was young, bro, boy, I used to be grinding that joker, bro. Used to be grinding. So, I'm not sympathetic to when people start out and be like, man, I can't get it going, I can't get it popping. When I go examining and doing an audit on what you're doing, and see that you're not doing, I can't help you. You know what I'm saying? I don't have no sympathy for that because I know the answer to that. You got to work hard. You
Mm,
know what I'm saying? While you sleep, they got somebody up that's getting it. You know what I'm saying? Bottom line, you trying to get a foot in the foot in this game, you got to run the race straight up.
mm.
And that's for
That's good.
anybody. That's for
Yeah.
producer, artist, whoever you are, whatever you're trying to pursue. If you're trying to get to a place, you got to put in the work. There's no shortcuts around it, man. I'm sorry.
Yeah. Nah, that's good, man. And that's great advice, man. Even for myself and what I'm doing and what I'm hearing, man, you gotta just apply pressure. And the
Man, you
moment
got
that
to
you
apply.
start,
Bro, you go to
yeah,
YouTube. Oh man, you go to YouTube. I can go to YouTube right now, pull up Christian podcasts, man. So many of them joints gonna pop out,
I
and you got
know.
so many new ones that are coming up. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah,
And like, so okay, all right, man. Okay, man. Be Holy podcast. You know what I'm saying? You got to be in the mix. You know what I'm saying? And it's sad that we have to we have to be able to what's the word I want? We have to be in this algorithm society. You know what I'm saying?
hmm,
But that's just the nature of the beast. You know what I'm saying? We don't need to complain about it. We need to figure out how can we get some foot into this thing. You know what I'm saying? And
hmm,
you got to put in the work, man. You got to put in the
yeah,
work. You dig? So
yeah,
straight up.
yeah. That's good. Have you ever had to give like a piece of brutal criticism to an artist or a producer, and
Oh
did that
yeah.
criticism end up changing the course of their career?
Oh yeah. Yeah. You know, I tell people, listen, if you, I'm brutal, I am gonna be brutal, but I'm brutal
Yeah.
with no malice. You know what I'm saying? I ain't got no malice attached to it. You know what I'm saying? And again, I learned that from Reef, man. Reef was brutal,
I
man.
know. I
Reef
trust me,
was
I know.
Reef was brutal, kid. Don't
Yeah.
let the little soft voice fool you, dog. Reef was brutal, son. You know what I'm saying? So but he was the criticism was to my benefit. You know what I'm saying?
Mhm.
So, but yeah, man, I I don't, my this is my philosophy. Once you put it out there, there's no take back.
Yeah.
If I can help you before you put it out, I'm gonna do so. I'm gonna tell you, not that ain't it. That ain't
Mhm.
it. You need to go back. You know what I'm saying? Now you have a choice to do whatever you want to do with that, but I ain't
Right.
going to tell you what it is. And if it's good, oh yeah, we got one. But if it's not, no, that ain't it. And then I'm gonna say, okay, listen, maybe we need to do X, Y, Z, da 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 da. Then it'll be in a good place. And
Yeah.
some people have been, even now, man, I'm repositioning myself as a creative partner, you know what I'm saying, where I come alongside the artists and work with them like from start to finish on the records. You know what I'm saying? The same service that I do over at the label, I've been learning how I'm setting up to do that with indie artists. And the artists on the label, they know, I'm brutal, you know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
But they know that it's with no malice, you dig? So then, and they know I want the best. I want to make I want them to have the best record they can.
Right.
If I can help it, you dig? So yeah, man. Uh, I tend to be, I like to be very honest, man, because again, once you put that music out, it's out there, and that's your resume. That's
Yeah.
the
Yeah.
resume, straight up.
That's good. So
Yeah.
Marv, man, like you've been a producer, you've been a mentor, you've been an advocate for producers, I'm pretty
Mm-hmm.
sure
Mm-hmm.
also for artists as well. Why is it important to you to invest into other creatives?
Oh man, that's how you stay blessed, bro. That's how you stay blessed,
Mm,
man. You
I
you
love
know
that.
you help somebody else, man. Then God look out for you. You know,
Right.
that paying it forward is that's a real thing. You know what I'm saying? And that's something that that's a principle that ran on the just and unjust. It's so unfortunate that
Yeah.
the world know that better than Christians sometimes. You know what I'm
Yeah.
saying? But
That's so
yeah,
true, Marv.
yeah, that's why your politicians and certain people, man, they cannot pay no taxes at the end of the year because they ain't gave it all away. You know what I'm saying?
Mm, mm-hmm.
It be us, man, that be like we trying to hold stuff to ourselves, man. I got to get mine. I got the whole mine. You know what I'm saying? I got to keep my two nickels together. If I give you one of my nickels, I ain't gonna have number 5 cent. I can't give you. I need to keep the 10 cent. Well, man, if you hold on to the nickels, that's all you're gonna have in your hand, man. So I've been blessed, man, to help producers, get on projects that I wasn't on. You know what I'm saying? Help people that I know, with opportunities and stuff, man. And I just, I just know that when I do that, you know, from the sincere, with the sincerity of the heart, man. God He always look out for me and my family. So, and listen, I can't do it all. I can't do it
Yeah.
all. You know what I'm saying? I don't want to do it all. So if I,
Yeah. Yeah.
and that's always been one of my prayers. If God will put me in a place to be able to help people, I would do it because I had some good people that helped me along the way. So,
Yeah. No,
mm-hmm,
that's good, man. So as an OG in the game, man, like you even talked about how your son is a producer, and I'm pretty sure
Mm-hmm.
you've been pouring into him. But you also have said that he has helped you in regards to just staying youthful in the game and
Mm-hmm.
staying relevant as well.
Mm-hmm.
So, is it a responsibility for veterans such as yourself to help the next generation?
Yeah, yeah, for sure, man. We seeing we seeing the lack of the older generation reaching out to the younger generation. We're seeing that now, man. That's why you can look online and all the different Christian sites. You see everybody bickering. You got the young artists bickering with the old artists, and the old artists bickering with the young artists. You know what I'm saying? And what the
Been
problem
saying that.
is, what the prop and the prop, but what the problem is, what I'm saying, there's a generational gap. You know what I'm saying? Nobody, no, not nobody's wanting to build that bridge with the generation, um
Mm,
and it's not and I think too, man, it's not about sunning anybody, or
yeah,
making somebody feel like you know uh you know you got to be my disciple or whatever. It's a matter of just extending your hand and be befriending people, man. We supposed to be we supposed to be the body, you dig?
yeah,
One thing I love about what we're doing over at Holy Coaching, man. We're very community driven. We're
yeah.
community driven, bro. We like to be able to reach out and touch one another. You know what I'm saying? Uh, we like to, when it's time to record our albums, we like everybody to come in. You know what I'm saying? And not outside of the music, man. We do artist gatherings where we come together. From all younger generation, older generation. That's how you
Mhm,
start.
mhm,
That's how you start. That's how you reach back when you start building those relationships. You know,
mhm.
but there's a few things that have to happen. You got to put your pride to the side. I got to realize that, hey, listen, I can't come in with the grumpy old man attitude. You know what I'm saying? Like, again, I got a 19-year-old son that's an artist. You know what I'm saying? I have to, even I got to be able to come down to his level. You know what I'm saying? Where he's at. I might not like vibe with all of the music that he does. You know what I'm saying? But I got enough sense to know if I want to if I want to stay what's the word, active and a part of what my son is doing, then that means I'm gonna have to come down on something. And then vice
Mm,
versa, that means he's gonna have to come up some. So we both got to meet each other in the middle of the road. You know what I'm saying?
somewhere
And that's
right
what
there.
needs to
Yeah.
be happening, man. I mean, you got the older generations, and when we talk about older generations, we're talking about like the Lecrae's, the KBs, and da 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 da. And look, we both on the outside looking in, so we don't know what community looks like for them. You know what I'm saying? But if we just looking at, if we all on the outside looking in and seeing what's going on in the Christian community, it looks bad. You know what I'm saying? But the problem is that nobody wants to meet in the middle. And if they have met in the middle, because I've had some conversation with individuals like, hey man, Marv, such and such have tried to reach out. Okay, well, but we still supposed to be a body, something. So somehow, some way, we're gonna have to figure out how we're gonna agree to disagree and still be in community. Because you can agree to disagree and still be in community and still move forward. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah, yeah. That's good.
Everybody's not, you're not required to, we're not required to not disagree with one another. You know what I'm saying? But we are required to be in community. So in the midst of us agreeing to disagree, we stay in community till we come to some kind of medium where we meet each other and be like, and eventually what'll happen over time, that very thing that we was disagreeing on, we might come to some resolution of it. But the
Yeah,
objective is that we have to be able to stay in community. Straight up.
yeah. Now that's so good, man, because I think what I'm realizing, especially when it comes to this younger generation, I used to be one of that person that used to look at the OGs and kind of be like, man, you can't really tell me what to do. And that was
Right.
just more so the arrogance. But going
Yeah.
back to you, what you said, right? if we're in the body of Christ, then there already should be an attitude of humbleness towards each
Right.
other. You
Yeah.
know what I'm saying? Because obviously you bringing something to the table and I'm bringing something to the table. And
Yeah.
whatever we come up with, man, this is supposed to glorify God, not glorify ourselves. So I do
Exactly.
understand the generation gap, man. And I think it's just a matter of knowing and reminding each other of why we're doing this. You know what I'm
Yeah.
saying? So
Yeah.
yeah, that's
Yeah.
good. So Marv,
Hmm.
man, you mentioned like numerous times, and I talked about it earlier, shared it earlier, how you are in-house producer for Holy Culture, man. Looking back, how do you think God prepared you for this opportunity?
Boy, shit. Boy, and you know something, me and my wife, we were talking about that. We was talking to something along the lines yesterday,
Mm,
man. Just through the seasons and through the years of a lot of the things that we've encountered, you know what I'm saying, just musically and in ministry, man, because I'm a ordained youth minister, youth pastor, uh at my former
amen.
church. But I did youth pastor work for. I was a youth pastor. I was in youth ministry over 20 years, and
Mm. You still do that
probably
now?
no, man. But we
Okay.
we we transitioned out of our former ministry about 2 years ago. So
Okay.
now, so I almost we're not pew sitters because we do serve at our ministry, but
I
we are
got you.
out of youth ministry, man. I tell you what, I think me and my wife, we both youth ministry out. You know what I'm saying? 'Cause
Okay.
we did it
I
so
got you.
long, but we was just talking about, what I'm saying, just all of the things, all the experiences, good and bad, that we went through, how, you know, where we're at today, what I'm saying, just in our lives and what God is calling us to do. My wife is a she's a minister, she's a prophetic teacher, worship leader. She's over women's Bible study, man. So all these things that we were doing, a lot of the things that we was doing in the old ministry, in our old, in the past, it seemed like it was very rough and it was very hard. But we're able to see, we take everything that we learn, and see that those things, those past experiences, prepared us for where we at now, right?
Mm,
Like I said, when I started out producing, I started out producing for a rap ministry at my church. Eventually, it grew to like 15, almost 20 people in the rap ministry, and I was responsible for making all the beats and
mm,
recording everybody. And then
right.
20 years later, what I'm saying, I'm an in-house producer for a label that has, not we don't have 20 artists, but we when I first started, man, we had a roster of about 15, 15, 15, 16 artists. You know what I'm saying?
Mm-hmm.
So I was, God had prepared me for, man. I had the bandwidth, I had the understanding of what this looked like, working with groups, working with artists, how they feel, saying how they're going to respond, how they're going to react to certain things.
Mm-hmm.
All that past preparation built me, prepared me for where I'm at now. And I tell you this, I know it prepared me for this time now, because even now, even me being a label now, just as we, getting to know our artists, rubbing our artists the wrong way, what I'm saying, had I not went through what I went through prior to, I'd be like, you know what? I don't want to work with you neither, Joker. My
Yeah.
attitude would be different. But
Yeah.
because I went, I went through a lot of things as a producer, working with a whole bunch of people, different moods, and different attitudes, and this and that, and artists just being artists. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
Artists are sensitive about their work. You know what I'm saying?
Mm,
But God had given me the bandwidth to be able to give grace to when our artists are frustrated. You know what I'm saying? So when I'm dealing with an artist that's on the label now, and we run to a crossroad, thank God, man, I can give grace to the frustration without me going off the ledge. You know what I'm saying? But I think all of that past preparation for where we come from and what we did, man, prepared us for the time we in now. And not just myself, but just I'm speaking for me and my wife, man, because we're a team, you dig? So, uh,
Yeah.
yeah,
Amen.
yep,
Amen.
hmm
Man, I'm blessed to hear that, man. And shout out to your team, your wife and your kids. You having a family, man, and
hmm
not only having a family, being
hmm
married for more than 20 years and
hmm
having a family and also being a producer, also working as an in-house producer for Holy
hmm
Culture, and then also doing ministry. What is your encouragement to somebody who is juggling all these responsibilities, but they still want to stay faithful to their craft, either as an artist or as a producer?
Man, I one of my main struggles that was always, finding that good balance. You know what I'm saying? It's always been a good
Hmm.
juggling. You know,
Hmm.
I tell you what, I was blessed. I was blessed to have a wife that was into music. You know what I'm saying? And I was blessed to have a wife that just got behind me, 100%. You know what I'm saying? And just, you know, um, she just got behind me, in everything I was doing. So that helped too. But I will say you're gonna always have that good. You're gonna always have a good wrestle of being balanced, man. It's always gonna be a good balance. And there were many times. There was many times, many seasons where I was unbalanced. Uh, and when I look back at it now, I was like, man, I wish I could have did that better. Maybe I should have took more breaks. Maybe I shouldn't have brought my iPad on vacation. I don't bring my equipment with me on vacation no more. But all my kids are grown too now, what I'm saying? But we
Yeah.
got grandkids, so my wife was telling me that my grandson was saying, "Why Papa always working?" So that's another sign, what I'm saying? I got my grandson, he paying attention. So when he come back
Grandson
next
snitching
summer,
on you, boy.
yeah. So when he come back next summer, you know what I'm saying? I'm gonna have to be able to, I got to balance that because he wants to spend time with his papa too, and I told my wife
Yeah.
every week we got to go somewhere. You know what I'm saying? So, but I'm thinking, okay, well, I need to make some money so we can go somewhere. But anyway, that's just me going off just outside of my neck. But uh, you're gonna I would tell if I would tell the producer, I would tell the younger me, hey man, you're gonna have to reprioritize your time. You know what I'm saying? You're gonna
Mm.
have you're gonna I would tell my younger self now, hey, you're gonna cut off at this time, blah blah blah. You're gonna go put your kids to bed, you're gonna spend time with your children, da 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 da, yada yada yada. I would do things much better, you know what I'm saying? Uh, and I think too, uh sometimes you just got to know when to just fall back. Because if you're not careful, if you're not careful, man, can it, this music can become an idol. You know what I'm saying? It can be
Mm.
an idol. You
Yeah.
dig? I
That's good.
even me. You know what I'm saying? I have to when I sense that this is all I'm seeing at the moment. Okay, have I made this music an idol? Have I made it an idol? You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
So you got to be able to always that, you got to be sensitive to that. You know, what are you putting? You're putting more time into this than that. You know what I'm saying?
Right.
Putting more time
Right.
into spending with the law. You're putting more time into your music than spending with your kids. Spending time with your wife or whatever the case may be. It's you
Yeah.
just you have to be careful of that because it can turn into an idol, man. But I would definitely say, I wish I had a straightforward answer, man, but being balanced is just going to always be a juggling act. You know what I'm saying?
That's real.
Uh,
That's
you know,
real.
I wish I could say, well, hey, if you do this, then you'll be okay. You know what I'm saying? Because every situation was different. every time it was, things were different. There were times I had, I would bring my laptop on vacation, man, and my wife would be ti tight. She'd be mad, you
Mm,
know what I'm saying? But in my mind, I had stuff I needed to do. I had to make some money for this vacation. So what? Maybe I should have saved some money prior to. There's so many
yeah,
things, you dig? But if I could go back and tell a younger person, tell a younger me, I would better prioritize my time and you know and and
yeah,
and make the important things, and the less important things that can wait, let it wait because it's gonna be there.
yeah.
Yeah,
Nah, that's real, man, and I honor your honesty because some people, like you said, they don't really know how to juggle all of that, man, and
bruh.
still something that they're trying to figure out. And at least you just being honest and sharing with the audience, like that's something that's going to be more so a case by
Man,
case. It depends on the season that you're in, but
right,
you're just going to find a way to just prioritize. And
right,
I love what you said. Make the things that are important important
right.
and the things
And
that are less important, less important. So that's good.
man, and like, and again, man, my situation is different. All my kids are grown. My baby boy just made 19. He independent. You know what I'm saying? He don't come on vacation with us. You know what I'm saying? I
Right.
don't have that. I don't have small kids anymore. So everybody's situation is different. I can spend a little more time now. You know what I'm saying? It's just me and wifey sometimes in the house. But then on a Sunday, wifey don't want me working, so I'm sitting on that couch, sleep after church, spending time, whether if I'm sitting up, watching a movie with her, or sometimes, we go to the grocery store, you know what I'm saying? I ain't taking care of no business while I'm in the grocery store with her. My phone is in my pocket somewhere, and I'm gonna walk down all these aisles with her, even though I
Hmm.
don't want to. You know what I'm saying? you know, I'm,
Right.
I'm
Right.
I'm gonna spend, that's me, and that's our rhythm. You know what I'm saying? We like to go to the park in the town, open the back trunk on our 4Runner and sit out, and put our little lawn chairs out and sit by the water. You know what I'm saying? That's what we do.
Mm,
But I understand that's important for me to do that with her because hey,
yeah.
she's still my wife. You dig?
And that's your
So
first ministry. Yeah.
your family is your first ministry, dog. I
Yes,
tell
sir.
everybody that your family is your first ministry. Your wife, then your children, then your job, because you got to take care of them people.
Mm,
Then the Lord's business. You know what I'm saying? When the
yes,
Lord
sir.
set up, when the Lord set up, he set Adam and Eve. That was Adam's first ministry. You know what I'm saying?
Mm,
And for a lot of years I had that backwards. It was my it was it was my wife. It was my wife, my wife and kids, then ministry, then working. You know what I'm saying? And what was happening? No, it was ministry, then my family, then working. You know what I'm saying?
mm,
And I had that jacked up, and you know, just I hate to get into that conversation because I might start crying. You know what I'm saying? That was another thing. Just imbalance in that. You know what I'm saying?
yeah.
Putting just doing so much work. And I want to be fair in that working so much and in ministry at the same time. And
Yeah.
my kids, they took it. They I sacrificed my kids for a lot of things, even though they was at church with me, but just that zeroing in, being with them. You know what I'm
Mm,
saying? Okay, listen, hold on. You know what? We ain't gonna go to church this Sunday. We're gonna go out. We're gonna hang. We're gonna be together. We're gonna do this, or if I'm not on the teacher schedule this Sunday to teach Sunday school, we're gonna go hang out. We're gonna go to breakfast. You know what I'm saying? Stuff. That's what ministry is with your family. That's spending that
yeah.
one that being that one-on-one time with them. Uh, so again, whoever may be watching this, you know what I'm saying, your wife, your children, then work, then ministry. When I say the ministry, I'm talking about the local church. You know what I'm
Yeah,
saying? Serving
serving.
in the local church, you know what I'm saying? And all of them are important, but they all need to be prioritized.
Yeah.
You know
Yeah.
what I'm saying?
That's
So
That's good, Mom. That's
Yeah.
good. So, Mom, we getting ready to close, man.
Yep.
So I have a few more, probably just two more questions. Well,
Okay.
one question, and then we'll do our rapid fire questions. But for anybody that's listening to this podcast, an artist, producer, engineer, or whatever, and they're trying to serve Christ faithfully, but they also hear that you've basically had a 20-year career. What
Hmm.
is three pieces of advice that you would give that person?
Uh, always check your motives.
Mm,
Practice humility and be consistent in your craft.
amen.
Practice humility because
Amen.
we by nature we ain't humble.
Yeah,
You know what I'm saying? So
that's good.
and look, you can have a false humility too. That's why you have to practice humility. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah,
And God
yeah.
God gon- God gonna put you in some humble situations. You know what I'm saying? But you always got to always be practicing humility. I tell my son all the time. I say, hey man, you can be talented like a mug, but if you ain't got no if you ain't got no humility, you're not gonna last
Mm,
long in business. You're not gonna last long. You're not gonna
amen.
last long. Straight up.
Amen. So y'all heard it from N.O. Marv, right? Check your motives, practice humility, and work on your craft. That's
Exactly.
what that's what it's about. Hold on. So Marv, man, I want to ask you three last questions before we get up out of here.
Yep.
So first, um, what current projects are you working on? Second, what is your favorite Bible verse? And lastly, what is like a dream collab or somebody that an artist that you would want to work with?
So right now, man, I have, a lot of my focus has been on the work that I've been doing over at the label. Like I said, man, we since the top of the year, we have recorded over five, six projects from the top of the year to now. So a lot of my focus work has been there, just making sure, uh, it, just making sure we're able to put out some good, hopeful, uh, in season and out of season music that people can be able to uh, feel good about and enjoy and be able to get some hope out of it. You know what I'm saying? Want to put the medicine in, put the candy in the medicine. You dig? So that's what's been important to us, that we've been having a good balance of the two, putting candy, putting medicine in the candy, making it taste good and making it healthy for the body. Uh, one one of my top scriptures, one of my favorite scriptures is First Corinthians 10:13. For God
That's a
won't
good
put
one.
more on you that you can bear. You know what I'm saying? I'm just paraphrasing it, but there have been many that went before you that went through the same thing. God ain't gonna put more on you to bear, and if he allowed it, he's gonna give you the strength. He's gonna make a way of escape. It says.
Mm,
You know what I'm saying?
mm-hmm.
So that's First Corinthians 10:13. Let me just make sure I'm giving you the right address as we talking. First Corinth. Hold on. Let me make sure. I don't want y'all to put me be like, man, Marv quote the wrong scripture. Hold on.
Before they try to call you a heretic, man.
Yep, hold on. Yep. No test of temptation that comes your way is beyond the course of what others had to face. All you need to remember is that God will never let you down. That's in the Message Bible.
Yeah.
He'll never let you be pushed past your limit. He'll always be there to help you come through it. That's First Corinthians 10:13.
At that time. Great verse.
And yes, sir. And man, I ain't gonna lie. Oh, I don't know if I have a dream collab, man.
Okay.
I've never thought about it, man. Everybody that I get opportunity to work with, I always count it a blessing. And
Mm,
and that's just what it is, I've never, again, man, I think with me not having a chasing the carrot syndrome,
yeah,
it's never been a, man, I just feel like I got to work with this artist. Man,
yeah, yeah.
I'm just trying to pay the mortgage every month, baby.
Hey, you focus on the bills getting paid,
I'm
baby.
focused on
I
the
hear you.
bills, bro. The mortgage is real. That mortgage come
Yeah,
every month consistently. You dig?
yeah, they're gonna
That's
take
what
them
I'll be worried
bricks.
about, man. Straight up.
Yeah,
I wish I had a dream artist that I would want to that I could say I would love to, but I don't, man. Anytime I
no,
get
I
an
got you.
opportunity to be able to, make some music with an artist, man, I feel good about it.
I got you. For my audience, is there an artist that you're fond of, and is somebody that you know what? I'm like, dang, like he
You
puts
know
out
what?
some good music.
You know what? So I do. Two of my favorite artists is Mouthpiece and my guy K9.
Okay,
That might that might
Mouthpiece
be a
and Kane.
that might be a little the before your listeners, your watchers time, but K9 and Mouthpiece, he's still getting at it, man. Mouthpiece is from out of Atlanta. He's
Okay,
associate pastor over at City Takers with my guy Scott Free. But Mouth, man, he's one of my favorite MCs, and my guy K9. K9 is from out of he's in Carolina. But
okay.
you know, if any of your listeners, if any of the watchers want to go back and Google K9 and Mouthpiece, you'll see the impact that they had in Christian hip hop. Real
Okay.
big impact. Yep. Hmm.
Okay. Well, y'all stay tapped in, man. Make sure y'all look on y'all Spotify, Apple Music for Mouthpiece and K9. Y'all heard it from our boy Marv here first, man. So, Marv, man, I just want to thank you for joining the Be Holy podcast. And before we get off, man, for everyone, make sure that you like, share, and subscribe. If you enjoying this Be Holy podcast, if you're enjoying this content, and if you're enjoying these interviews and the stories behind this artist, man, just make sure you like, comment, and subscribe. Please show the boy some love. In addition to that, man, make sure that you buy our digital gift, the 5 steps on how to become a Christian rapper, and then also join our Patreon Holy Grounds, where you can get early access to podcast episodes, behind the scenes content, and we'll be having member only discussions on some of these podcast episodes. Marv, as I always tell everybody, man, my favorite verse is 1 Peter 1:15. It says, "For he who calls you is holy, so you also be holy in all your conduct." So I always tell people, man, live holy, well, be holy, live holy, and keep it holy. Marv, thank you for joining the Be Holy podcast, brother. Man, we out.
Thank you, man. Thank you for having me, bro. Appreciate you.
All right.